Escalation Die from 13th Age. It's amazing. And it reminds me a lot about the Power Rangers. Let's talk about it. Let's go! All right. Hopefully you have a big D6 like this if you're going to be playing 13th Age, so you can slap that puppy right on the table with a big loud noise. Hopefully that didn't blow out your eardrums. So, I am Sacred with Sacred Art of Gaming, and I really want to talk about the Escalation Die because this is the channel where I talk to you guys about all the things I'm interested in that my coworkers ignore. In a nutshell, what the Escalation Die does, it gives you a modifier, usually just the players. Round 1, there is no modifier, and then on round 2, hopefully you can see that, you have a +1. Round 3, you got a +2. Round 4, you get a +3 until eventually you get to round 7 if it makes it that far, and then you get a +6. It's maxed out at +6, doesn't go any further. So if you're on like round 10, still +6. Why is this important? Why is it cool? And why is it related to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? To be clear, when I say Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I'm talking about the original. I can't speak to all 25 years. Is that show still on? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Is this still going? It just ended. It ended last year, 2023, Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. That is insane. I can't speak for Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, but what I can speak to is the original, like we're talking Red Ranger, Jason, Tommy, like the White Ranger, all that stuff. That I'll even go to the movie with the ooze. That's about where my Power Ranger knowledge ends. But the reason why it's worth mentioning is because what that escalation die does, which is kind of magical, is it changes how combat works compared to something like 5th edition, which most people are probably familiar with. But basically you want to show up, do the craziest thing you can right out the gate so that you can kind of cripple the enemy. Everyone knows damage is king, so you need to do as much damage as fast as possible. Best defense is a good offense when all your enemies have 0 HP. But this does a different thing, and the reason why it does a different thing is because the escalation die is not just tacked on to their system. The escalation die, the system is built around it. So with that said, you're not going to be super strong. The escalation die is kind of baked in to your stats. And the intent behind the escalation die is that, round 1, I need to put that thing down. Round 1, I'm going to break a window if I don't. In round 1, it behooves you to be a little safer with what you're doing. And the reason why is because you have no modifier. You may, whatever modifiers you have personally for your character, but those modifiers are not going to be crazy, especially to start. So the chances of you succeeding on anything that you do really is a lot lower. You're going to throw a fireball, and you can throw a fireball with a flat roll or with a +5. Like, why in the 9 hells would you do that on round 1? The chances of you missing are so much higher. It is really just all about maximizing your effectiveness. So the great thing about this is it adds 2 layers, a strategic and a thematic layer to the combat. That is really neat. So if you're kind of holding on to some stuff to do it later, to do your like holy shit moves, don't get me wrong, there is still action going on and you still could do a lot of damage right at the beginning. But this feels a little bit like the Power Rangers. So Power Rangers had a tried and true method that had me hooked as a child. A big part of that is obviously super cool robots, super cool fighting, and super cool monsters. But if you look at the very formulaic approach to the episode, it was almost a guarantee in most circumstances. What happens at the beginning, right? Okay, they're enjoying life. Things are cool. Behind the scenes stuff with Rita finds a fish and finds it interesting and turns into a monster or whatever. But she doesn't just throw the monster at them right out the gate. A lot of times it's like, oh my God, it's the putties, which if you forget, they're the guys. A lot of times they will fight the putties, sometimes just in their normal like teenager form where they're just like, we're fighting the putties. All right, they're doing the thing, they're hitting them in the right spots, whatever, and they're you know, going into pieces. But then the big bad comes up. It's a beta fish monster that she's, make my monster, and you know, so now it's this big beta fish creature thing. Now this beta fish is he shows up and he's doing his little thing. He's like, haha, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, ruin the school or whatever. He's fighting them, you know, he's smacking them around, and they kind of do their whole thing where they're in their stance. They're just like, oh man, we're never gonna be able to fight them like this. Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? It's morphin' time! And then they do the whole morphin' time thing. They're in their suits, but they're still people. Now they're fighting the monster, and they're doing a little bit better, right? They're doing better. And, you know, they go back and forth and see how things are escalating, both, you know, story and also combat-wise. Same monster, and eventually, you know, they do the thing, and then the monster's kind of like, ugh. And Rita sees this, and she's like, no, I can't believe this is happening. So she throws her staff, and she's like, make my creatures grow. She throws it, and then it just shows like the earth opens up, but everyone else is fine. There's no like earthquakes. It's really just contained to this monster. But anyways, you know, he's kind of, he grows, and he's super big, and they're all like, oh no, what are we gonna do now? They obviously are not gonna be able to fight him in that form. He will obviously just step on him, because he's huge. He's like the size of a building. Perfect reason to have giant dinosaurs in this case. They're just like, oh man, what are we gonna do? I think it's time to get our Zords. Hit the music, morphin' time again, go Power Rangers. Then we're bringing in like the T-Rex and the Pterodactyl and the Mastodon. Again, the earth opens up, all the robots come in. They're like, still doing their thing, but they're in their robots. And now they're fighting the giant beta fish. They are getting the upper hand now. They're getting the upper hand. Nice little back and forth, you know, Mastodon's doing his thing, and you know, Pterodactyl comes in, like shoots some stuff, and everything's going well. And let's say, this isn't necessarily every time, but in this instance, just to keep that escalation going, Rita's gonna be like, oh no, I hate this. She sends in the big gold guy. Was it Goldar? Goldar? Let me know in the comments. Is it Goldar? She sends him down too. She's like, I don't want to lose this beta fish I made in 2 seconds. Send in the big guns. So she sends him down, makes him grow too, and now it's a 2v5 technically. It's a 2v5, but the Zords on them by themselves, I guess, is just not enough. And I think Goldar had a sword too. He had a sword. He had the big armored wings. So now they are whooping some Zord ass. And they're just like, and it shows the sparks, and there's, what is happening? Hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down here. Or else you're lost if you've scrolled to the middle part of this video. Anyways, so yeah, now they do what any sane Zord does in this situation. They're just like, oh man, we gotta make the Megazord, and then go Power Rangers. So it comes together, and now they're one big robot. The Pterodactyl's on the back, and the T-Rex in the head, and everything kind of, you know, the arms and the legs, and the Triceratops, and they're all one thing. And then he kind of, now the giant robot Zord's doing the Power Ranger poses too. Now, the Zord has the upper hand. Sparks are flying off of the beta fish for some reason. And it's like, all right, cool, we're doing the thing, it's great. But then, hypothetically, not every time, you know, Rita does another thing. Rita's like, oh, let's send the nerd down there. There's the nerd with the monocle. Let's send both of them, the little chubby guy and the monocle guy. She throws something else down there, or maybe gives them a weapon or something, right? Things escalate. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We're taking damage because they have a new thing that we didn't have just now. So then they get the sword, the Megazord sword. And then, go Power Rangers. He does like one slash. Whoosh, and they're all just like, And then let's say her minions that are always there, they're just like, nah, let's run. The beta fish, he's toast. We're done with the beta fish. Goes back to a beta fish, I think. And that's kind of the end of the episode. Then it shows them back at school, and they're just like, yeah, wow, beta fish, right? Isn't that crazy? And then there's usually like a beta fish in the episode in like the classroom or something. They're just like, is that you? And then they flush it down the toilet. Just kidding, that doesn't happen. That is an amazing feeling when you have that back and forth. Can that happen organically in other games? I mean, things like that have definitely happened in campaigns I've been a part of, but like, is that consistent across the board? No. Is it consistent through every single combat in 13th Age? No, but the pieces are there. The framework is there, and it rewards that type of behavior. You're saving your holy shit stuff for later rounds, which can kind of lead to some really cool epic combat. Your character seems a little bit weaker and the monsters seem a little bit more difficult, and because of that, with the escalation die, that makes those hard-hitting, amazing feats that much more impactful. Like the Power Rangers. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that breakdown. If you're digging the content, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. Hit the bell too, the bell's a thing. Power Rangers and your TTRPGs. If you really enjoy RPGs and gaining inspiration from other sources, whether it's, movies, shows, music, books, whatever, games, and kind of pulling from those pieces of inspiration and utilizing them in your games, you're in the right place. Come along for the ride. I hope you're digging it, because there's going to be a lot more of that. Having a great time. I hope you are too. That is Sacred, signing out.